the Leadership Summit. So be aware that you're going to probably get a lot of correspondence from me getting ready for that. There's already been some, but we'll talk about that a little bit later today. But today we do have a pretty packed agenda. We do have the quarterly at 2 o'clock after this, so I'm going to try to get through this as efficiently as possible. In future meetings, I am going to try to stick pretty closely to a more parliamentary structure, Robert's Rules of Order sort of thing. I'm going to give that a little bit of a shot today, but I will be reaching out to those on the call and then the board to discuss what that would looks like. If those have been involved in that before, I've been watching videos, reading stuff. Pretty confusing, so it might be helpful to just have someone that knows a bit more about that. So just know that I'll be reaching out to folks on that as well. I just want to make sure that these are as efficient as possible. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And I will now share my screen and we will take roll. See if I can. Okay, I cannot share screen. Ryan, can you enable the screen sharing for me, please?
I went ahead and made you a co-host.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. Thank you. And thank you, Ryan and Jessica, for kind of helping coordinate the Zoom stuff, making sure that this is up and running and runs smoothly for us as well. So big ups to them for that. So I will share my screen now. Let's see. All right. Get a thumbs up on video for those that can see the agenda. Perfect. Thank you, Vince. Okay, let's go ahead and take roll. First up, we've got Andrew McKinney. I am present. Drew Andrews.
Here.
All right. Tyler Huffman.
Here.
All right. Ray Rush.
Here.
All right. Lewis Hill.
Yep, present.
All right. Charles Altendorf.
Here.
All right. Scott Dickinson. I see you, Scott.
Yeah, I'm here. It's just the mute button is moving.
No problem. All right. Kim Ezel.
Here.
All right. Kim Morrow.
Here.
Ashley Patterson.
Hey, guys.
All right. And Michael Wolf.
Here.
Fantastic. All right. Lewis, sounds like we have a quorum. Is that true?
Yes, everyone's accounted for.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda here. We have the approval of minutes. There was a link in the agenda. I hope everybody got to review those. I guess we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes from December 7th of 2020. We need a motion.
I will motion for such.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Charles motions. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to see if I can move. There we go. And that was Ashley? Great. All right.
Yes, sorry, I'm toggling my mute because I have kids skateboarding outside the window and I'm afraid of an injury.
Oh, that sounds like way more fun than what we're doing. All right. Sounds like we do have a motion. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Those opposed? All right. Sounds like the motion passes unanimously. All right. And we will go on to the next item on the agenda with the treasurer's report. Ray, you are here. Are you ready to give the treasurer's report? So
Hey,
you
Andrew.
have the floor.
Well, let's see. What would be in the treasurer's report? We have a preliminary budget for 2021 that was presented to the budget committee in December, and I think we have some updates to that. Probably most of the updates is in regard to some of the gift cards from the conference last year. So those are things that may have expenses in 2021 and not just be in 2020.
All right. I guess we'll give an update on the bank balance. I believe that's usually what Angela had something
Okay.
she had to get pulled through. So I think she had sent that email before. So if you want to give an update on
Yeah.
that would be beneficial.
Thanks for the prompt.
Sure, sure. Hey, this is our first one. It's not going to be as smooth as we'd like. We'll learn lots of lessons from this, and the next one will be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just a moment here. I'm working off 2 computers at the same time.
No problem. And I could actually probably pull that up if you'd like.
Yep, our current balances our checking account. So we have 3 accounts. Number 1, for those that aren't familiar. So our active account that we're using is the checking account. So no surprise there. Balance is $15,065.10. We also have the savings account. That's at $24,034.04. And our scholarship account has a balance of $604.21. So that's where we are with the balances. Right now with our 2021 budget currently we have a projection for 2021 of $6,807. So no surprise that most of our expenses and income in a given year are from the conference. So in those, just maybe not so much for the report, but for general information, was around, it seems, $70,000 each year. So our ins and outs, income and expenses, were less than $10,000 last year. So it drastically changes without a conference.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else to report?
We are exploring changing the bank from Fifth Third to one that would be more convenient in what the bank offers us, as well as locations throughout Kentucky. We have a preliminary list and nothing is set on making that change just yet.
Okay, yeah, I do know it's something that you and the budget and audit committee will be working through very soon. Okay.
All right, and there's where we are with the money.
All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Andrew,
Yep.
before we move on, in the past, we've accepted the treasurer's report through a motion in a second. Probably be prudent to do that at this point before we move on.
Sure, yeah. I don't know if there's any questions before then.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. That was a question, right? Or that was a statement. So that's okay. Again, being this is my first one that I'm running, I'm going to be learning a lot this time, but I will be following up with everybody to make sure that we're touching all the bases, checking all the boxes throughout these meetings. So, so anything like that, please speak up. Hopefully, that'll be noted in the minutes. But we're also recording these. So that'll be beneficial for me and the rest of the board to go through and make sure that we hit on everything and when we're doing this the right way. So yeah, thanks for that. All right. Anything else on the treasurer's report? Okay. With that, do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I so move.
All right, Charles, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Well, I'll second it.
All right. I heard Scott second. All right. All those in favor of accepting, say aye. Aye. Yay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Those opposed? All right. The motion passes unanimously. With that, we'll move on to the Communications Committee report. Jessica Lott, I believe you're on the call. So you have the floor.
All right. There's not a ton to talk about. A lot. There'll be more to talk about after we have the leadership summit. That's usually when we kind of hash out some things that we want to do for the year with communications. I haven't got to spend as much time as I typically have on camp. Just work and personal life has been crazy this month, so I apologize if it's taken me a little longer to get back than normal. But other than that, this is really all that I've worked on for the last month since our last meeting was kind of helping with this, getting the graphics going. I have gone through the Trello board, and I still need like 2-sentence biographies from Ashley, Kim, Ray, and Scott, so I can put them on the website. I have your pictures up and your names. I just need those. Oh, I need a picture from Ashley too. And then the other thing, which Lewis is probably going to be my biggest help, and Demetrio, and even Vince. I cannot remember for the life of me who was all directors in the year 2019. So.
Andrews.
Yeah, I believe I have that. Lewis had sent me that for documentation purposes. I'll go ahead and send that to you, Jessica.
Awesome.
You may be able to discern it from the meeting minute notes on the history page.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's also true. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just completely didn't think about that.
Not a problem. And that's something, again, we'll talk about, you know, with the during the leadership summit, is kind of getting us a timetable of things that we need to start thinking about. It's one of those things where a lot of times we're busy and we forget. So if we can have these types of things documented, you know, I don't know, I've been in government for a long time. We're very reactionary, so and that's okay. But if there's anything we can get in front of that would help our committee chairs, that would be great. So thanks, Jessica, for that. We'll get that over to you and we'll get those updated.
Awesome. That's all I got.
All right. Lewis, I assume with communications committee report, is that something that we have to pass by accepting that report? I don't think.
No, it's not.
In the past, we have not.
That's what I thought. Okay. Sounds good. Well, let's move on. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate the update. I did not take roll for the chairs, mainly because we're not quite there yet with the nomination, but with those that have been in the role previously, they just kind of moved on into this year. But I believe Chandler, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. I've got a big long list of names. So perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to that, to the membership committee report. Do you need to share your screen? If so, I can stop sharing mine.
No, that's okay. There's really not a whole lot to report. Not a whole lot
Okay.
has changed in the last month. We have 309 active members, the same as last month. 262 are individual, 32 are student, and 15 are corporate. I mean, it's beginning of the year, slow time of the year. A lot of people have not renewed their membership. I don't even think I have yet. So this is pretty typical. One cool new, I guess, part of Wild Apricot is they have reports for the membership information. They have membership reports, but they only put that in back in June, so we can't exactly look and see how, you know, last year compared to previous years. But that is something kind of neat that we'll be able to look at in the future and figure out what time of year do we have more people renewing. Of course, that's probably obviously going to be right before the conference, but that might be a nifty little tool to look at in the future.
All right, that's great. Yeah, I know that's something that we'll definitely be looking at this year as well, is, you know, what our trajectory's been, you you know, we always want to increase membership. The last couple of years have been kind of weird. Last year was very, very strange.
Yes.
I think this year we'll kind of focus on stabilizing. We'll talk about that during the leadership summit. We'll, you know, we're always looking for new membership. We want to keep that number high, but we also want to provide our members with good content to keep them around. So it's good to hear. That's still a good number. Appreciate the report on that, and looking forward to some of the analysis that we could do with that new data. Great.
Thank you.
Yep. Any questions on that? Okay. Same question for the communications committee report. With the membership committee report, is that something that we normally have to make a motion on to accept?
No.
Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate that. Thank you for keeping me honest. All right. With that, we're going to go on into old business. So something we had talked about before the turn of the new year was the 2021 budget development. Ray, would you like to discuss the 2021 budget development, where we are with that, what that looks like? I know we had some questions before this meeting, some clarification that I'd like to get cleaned up. So we could probably discuss that here in regards to submitting budgets from chairs, but we can get to that when we get to that. So Ray, you have the floor.
Thanks, Andrew. So on the budget, Wes, what do we want to cover here as far as the 2021 budget?
I guess we could pull up what that looks like.
The draft budget spreadsheet?
Yeah, the draft budget spreadsheet. I can go and pull that up. Let's see here.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Angela sent this right before this meeting. She said, feel free to discuss and forward or reply with any questions or comment. The one thing I do want to mention is that the intent is to have committees send requests for funds in October so that the board approves budget for the new year. This is a question that I had because based off our constitution, if I can pull that up as well, in the Constitution, it says the president shall appoint committee chairpersons at the beginning of each fiscal year. Each committee chairperson shall be responsible for submitting a budget to the budget and audit committee for the current fiscal year by March 1st. So my question is, are we working on a yearly budget? Are we working on a fiscal budget? And the differences between the October and the March date. I mean, it makes sense that if we're working on a fiscal with the starting in July, right? Then getting your budget request as a chair by March 1st makes sense. But if we're working on a yearly budget, like what the spreadsheet looks like, then the October date makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know the answer to that question.
Sure.
That's a really good question. I had another one too, and this is just my ignorance with us. I'm assuming we're a 501(c)(3), right? So with that status, are there bylaws to how much we can carry over from one fiscal year to the next?
Andrew?
I think it's important to note we are a C6. We are not a C3. And they're different.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was trying to look that up real quick.
Andrew?
Thanks for chiming in. I couldn't
Yes,
remember
Lewis.
what the number was.
At the very end, I think I'm looking at the Constitution, the very last part, Article 16 defines the fiscal year being January 1st of each year, closing December 31st. Was that one of the questions you had?
That was one of the questions. Good to know.
Okay. So it's a
Calendar year.
calendar year.
A
Yes.
calendar year. Great. So that does interest me about getting the budgets for by March 1st of the same year. That seems a little late.
It does.
Has anybody that has been through this in the past? I know like some of our committees that do have a decent budget are like the Education and Professional Development Committee. They're the ones who usually spend some money on, locations and food and getting presenters and instructors. I think we'll need some historical context by that March 1st date there. Because again, October 1st makes sense to me because you're preparing the budget in the last quarter of the fiscal year.
The only, that first quarter would give you a chance to better pin down your income. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
Based on membership dues, because I believe and Ray, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the budget revenue based only on membership dues? Are there any other major sources of income?
Yeah, our major income, looking to last year as an example, right? That would be through membership dues, and then I guess any like merchandise sales that may happen. Because it's looking back, I look back over the past 5 years to see what income regularly came from, and it was dues, and then conference workshops, and then the conference itself, and then some miscellaneous items, a little bit of merchandise. So that's really what the bulk of it is. And this year, what we have on the projected budget is we're going to lose some money this year rather than gain money. And I'm not sure if we're entirely accounting for those gift cards from last year on this. Yeah, I'm not 100% on that. I think that was a higher number. I don't think it's under awards.
That was part of the conference cost, so I'm not sure if that would be part of this.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking we're going to realize it this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be an adjustment that needs to be made here.
Okay.
Quick question about that. Being that we have so many ties to education, is there a possibility for us to get any of the Kentucky Cares COVID money to make up for anything we need to shore up?
I don't know.
I don't think we can justify requesting that kind of money. Look at our savings account balance. What do we need it for?
Yeah.
Well, I thought I heard him say that we were going to be in the red, so that's why I was
Well,
thinking.
our balance isn't going to be in the red, but we are projected to have more expenses than income for 2021.
Yeah.
And that varies as we go through different conferences and stuff. Some conferences give us a big profit and some don't, et cetera. And, we're ahead of the game at the end still, as long as we're carrying a positive balance. So.
Am I reading it wrong? Because it looks like our income is $71.50 and our expenses or our cost is $68.07, which means we actually have a $343 surplus.
Yeah, that looks right, right? So you got projected income minus expenses. So it'd be 343.
In the black.
In the black, yeah. So the difference.
It is confusing the way that's color coded.
Yeah, it is, because that's the number that sticks out to you. But the actual balance, yeah.
I am great at starting this off, aren't I?
No, you're good, man.
You're doing a great job. I do not envy you at all taking on the role of treasurer. That is a massive beast.
Yeah, we're all behind you in the firing line cheering for you. We're all clapping.
But also know we have your back, Ray, so don't worry.
Way
back.
I can't tell if Lewis has bailed you out or made your job harder.
Yeah. Well, it's a small amount as far as that difference goes.
Yeah.
So that's the good news. I think we just need to give this a little more attention, make it as accurate as we can be, taking into consideration everything that's going to happen in 2021. I guess that's where we need to have committee inputs for budget that is needed for this year based on our plans for the organization, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. So with that, why don't we table the approval of the proposed 2021 budget? It's not on the docket anyway. We all have an idea of what that looks like. You all have access to that now. So what I'm requesting is all directors review that. Chairs and soon to be chairs start considering what your expenses may be. We'll be talking a bit more about that during the leadership summit. But my thought is we've missed the October 1 date for this year. But we do have the March 1st date, which is the one that I was going by after I read through the Constitution. So I'll have to talk to Angela and some other constitutional historians here to find out about this, because for the current fiscal year, if we have to get it in by March 1st, and the approval of the budget isn't till after that date, right? Because we can't approve a budget until everybody gets their request for funds in. So I just think we need more clarification on that. So I'm going to put that on my to-do list, and I will work with Ray and the Budget and Audit Committee to get some clarification on that. But no, to the chairs, review the budget and start thinking about the funds, because we do have money in savings. If you do want to spend some money, I mean, that's okay. That's part of that. But we just need to know that if we are to add to our budget, we eventually may go into the red, but that's fine, because that's what our savings is for. We also need to make sure that we're spending it correctly. Again, this is a weird year, so we might not have a lot of physical events. So that might keep costs low. But just something to consider. So
For what it's worth, Andrew, I think it may have fallen off of people's radars, but 5 years ago or whatever, when I first joined the board, my budget as communications chair was requested of me before the first board meeting of the year.
Yeah.
Lance Morris was asking me for that in November and December before I was even officially the chair, whatever. So in the past, that has been submitted prior to the calendar year beginning.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's just these dates are kind of confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because of that statement, and then that the nominations for the chairpersons aren't until the beginning of the fiscal year. But it would make sense of an October 1st date for the current chair to submit their budget for the next year. Now, the new chair, if that person's no longer a chair, then that new chair that comes in will have to either reap or be worse off with what the previous chair proposed for their budget. But it's still something that you're getting in front of for the next year. So I just need some clarification on that. So we'll table that discussion for now. Appreciate that. Charles, looks like you have a question.
I do too.
Okay. Oh, I see a lot of hands. This is great.
I'll let you go first, Scott.
Let me make this bigger. Now I can see everybody. Okay. Ashley has a question too.
Okay.
Charles, go first, and then we'll go on from there.
I was just going to say it might be something in the rules we want to consider amending later, but we'll just have to take a vote on that, and you'll have to get the full understanding of why it was put in there that way.
Yep, I agree. All right. Scott, you have a question. You're up there now.
Yeah, I seem to remember a time way back when where where our memberships weren't really tied to the calendar year, where we were renewing for January 1st. It seemed like that the memberships were like conference to conference. Does anybody remember that besides me? So that might explain that that March 1st date a little bit, because if conference was typically September, October-ish, then you would, March 1st is right around 6 months after that. So you probably would know more about your money during that time period than you would right now, if we're actually we're actually only knowing about it, really about how much we're taking, or have a better information by January 1st, considering. Does that make any sense? Or I think I've just stumbled all over myself here, but.
No, it does make sense. So, okay, that sounds good. With the time, Ashley, did you have a question? It looks like you
I
you
did, but
lowered
you
your hand.
already answered it. Sorry.
Okay,
Thanks.
sounds
I
good.
forgot to unraise my hand.
Sounds good. So Scott, with your point there, it does sound like we just need more clarification. So let's table that. We could put this on the agenda for the next board meeting. And this is also something that the Budget and Audit Committee can work on, outside of this as well, right? We don't have to just do work during the board meetings. We can make this stuff happen in between. Thanks for all your comments, questions. This is good. With that, Ray, do you have anything else? We are running up on time here.
I don't have anything else, but that was a good discussion on the budget.
Yep, good deal. So it sounds like we need some more clarification, but nothing. We're not going to approve anything on that today. So we'll table for next time. All right. With that, we'll move on to more business, to the Leadership Summit. This is just a real quick reminder that their Leadership Summit is next week. It is the 28th. It's from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Please review the agenda. I've still got some work to do. I've been slammed with other stuff recently, but my big goal this week is to review that. I've got some action items specifically from Anne Marie that I need to work on for the agenda, but review it. I'll start adding your speaking roles in there as well. Really excited about it. Since this isn't physical, it's going to be in the web on the Zoom account. You don't have to be there the whole time. I get that. We've got other stuff going on, but definitely try to attend as much as you possibly can. I think this is a great event for us to kind of help build and steer the ship for the rest of the year. So really looking forward to it. So just a reminder that that is happening on the 28th. Any questions or comments or concerns about the Leadership Summit? All right, this one's going to be a bit different. Usually Leadership Summit is kind of a welcome everybody. Here's what we're doing. Here's who we are. Here's where we're going to go. We're still going to have a little bit of that, but it's going to kind of be a scaled down version of that this year. All right, moving on to the next item, bank name transfer. Ray, it's you again. There is some, I think Angela sent some information on that, but did you want to discuss that? If so, you have the floor now.
It needs to happen. Which gives me authority to use the bank account to where, yeah, my name is listed on there. And I think that's just me. I don't know if there's a secondary as well. So that just needs to happen. I think we're just going to do that for now with Fifth Third, and then look to migrate to a different bank if that makes sense.
I personally Drew Andrews, I think it's a good idea to have a secondary, just in case something happens to Ray. That it's really good to have a second signature, a second name.
Yeah.
That can access that account, look over the shoulder, be another signature, etc.
Has that been a specific position in the organization in the past? Has that happened? I don't know.
I have no idea, but I would say either a president or an audit chair.
In the past, it's also been the previous treasurer. So Tom East was that role, I believe, for Angela.
Could that person also be, just following up there on a comment, could that person also be the budget and audit chair? That would also provide a means for, I know Angela had always kind of thought about succession planning in terms of how to utilize that committee for succession purposes for treasurer and whatnot. So just thought, thinking out loud.
Yeah, that seems to make sense. Sounds like we need to explore that a little bit more. Come up with a firm plan on that. But yeah, we do need to have it transferred so Angela isn't stuck with handling the finances, and I can be doing that. And probably the most thing that happens right now is depositing dues payments and paying for a few things that come up.
Sounds good. So this is something that we will have to vote on. Does it sound like we have enough information to vote on that today, or should we table this for the next meeting? Next meeting is going to be in a month. I know Angela said that we do need to get this done.
This is Lewis. I'm reading over Angela's email, and she said that a board member needs to make a motion to transfer the bank account from her name to Ray's name. President and the treasurer are both not allowed to make that motion. That's the only specific item I have.
Yep.
And it does need to be recorded in the minutes for a financial institution to accept it.
Okay.
So that seems fairly straightforward to me.
Okay.
Well, how about we go ahead and do that now, and then maybe if we need to make a motion on the next meeting, as far as adding the secondary person onto that. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. All right. So with that, then it sounds like, do we have a motion to, I guess I can call for the motion.
I am so moved to motion that Ray's name be placed on the treasury.
Charles is so moved. Do we have a second?
Andrews, second.
Drew Andrews emphatically moves. All right. So with that, all who approve say yay.
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 All right. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. All right, great. So Ray, go do good work. Let's get that transferred over, and then
Right.
let's make a note for the next agenda as new business to look at having a secondary name on that account. That'll be very beneficial. Great, great. All right. With that, let's move on to the next item for new business is the nomination of committee chairs. I sent that link out to everyone. I hope you all had a chance to review that. First off, thanks for the folks that are stepping into those roles, hopefully, as long as they do get approved. So with that, I will pull that up. I believe this is something that we have to make a motion on as well. But here are my nominations for committee chairs. We have the Awards Committee of Anne Marie Sacra, Budget and Audit Committee of Angela Scott, Communications Committee Jessica Lott, Education and Professional Development Committee Vince Denoto, Membership Committee Chandler Callison, Nomination Committee Chris Aldridge, Scholarship Committee Demetrio Zarakis. With that, there is a caveat that our membership committee will have a vacancy sometime this year. Chandler, did you want to speak on that?
Yes, I will be moving to North Carolina in April, so there'll be a vacancy once I move.
Okay. Do we have a timeline of when that might happen approximately?
My last day at work here is April 9th.
Okay. So with that, I still asked Chandler to step in as the membership committee and then work closely with, we'll try to see if we can find someone to step in that role for the rest of the year. I think we have some board members that are interested in helping out with that. So just a caveat there. I've also spoken with Chris. Chris has indicated that he is starting to look at transitioning out of the chair role for nominations committee. So just note that that is another caveat that we will be looking for some new blood, if you will, for the nominations committee. But with that, these are the nominations that I put forward for our chairs. I'm assuming that we need a motion to accept the president's recommendations for committee chairs.
I'll make that nominate, or I'd like to make a motion to accept the committee chair nominations as presented by Andrew.
Thank you, Lewis. We have
Second from Andrews.
all right. All those in favor?
Yay.
Aye.
All right. All those opposed? All right. The ayes have it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the chairs. I think most of them are on the calls today. Just a spoiler alert. Really appreciate y'all stepping up. Really looking forward to learning from you. Hopefully you'll learn something from me. I'm here to work for you. So just know that we'll all be talking a lot. And we'll have some more information on, future business, especially during the leadership summit. So thanks again for stepping up. That's a big part of KAMP and our organization. So, it's good to see that we have some committed folks. So, all right. With that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the committee budget submissions. We've kind of talked a little bit about that previously. Again, according to the Constitution, that's looking like March 1st. Now that we have our chairs, I would like you to look over the budget. I believe you received that in the email from Angela. And start thinking about what your budget looks like. I know you're not going to have all of the answers right now, but that's okay. As Angela noted in her email, that the budget is a planning device, and it is something that KAMP has the ability to alter if need be. So don't look at that as set in stone, but know that we need to work with our directors to make sure that any funds that we spend, are approved. So just know that that will be coming shortly. And again, we'll be talking about that a bit more during the leadership summit next week. So nothing more on that, but just a spoiler alert, one of my big focuses this year are going to be events. So between the quarterlies, our education and professional development and networking events, I want to make sure we have a kind of a consistent voice. Those chairs that are out there that are part of those committees, definitely start thinking about that. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, great. With that, future board meeting scheduling, I'm going to go ahead and put these on the calendar for the rest of the year. We're going to have them monthly. I just want to make sure that we all know when they're going to be. We don't necessarily have to meet if we don't have anything to talk about. However, I'd like to go ahead and put the time on the calendars. My plan is to send out kind of a vote for all of our directors and our chairs to let me know when you think the best times are going to be for you. I know that can sometimes be tough, but for me personally, Thursday afternoons and Tuesday afternoons are pretty great. It seems pretty rare that I get meetings scheduled, but we'll go ahead and push those out. It also doesn't mean that those are set in stone. We can move those around. But I want to get those on our calendars so we kind of have a consistent rhythm to the year and make sure that we're knocking stuff out. Okay. So look forward to that from me. That should be by the end of this week. I just want to hear your thoughts on when our meetings should be scheduled. And we'll kind of go from there. The last item that I want to talk about is the Trello board. This is just a way for me to kind of make sure that we are all working from the same, data, if you will. It's definitely not something that, you have to use, but know that I will be in there a lot, and it really helps me kind of know what we're working on. It also helps me know how I can help you and how the directors can help you, and what we all find important. Let me log in here real quick and just kind of give you a preview. If you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend you pop in there. What I've done so far is I've taken the action items from the last leadership summit. I put these in here, and then I also took some action items from previous board meetings and put those in there as well. That doesn't mean that it's something that we have to work on, but it is something that I want us to, see that's out there. And then as a team, we decide whether or not it's worth working on, right? So it's just kind of a way for us to catalog what we're doing, and then work together, knock these things out. And then at the end of the year, we can kind of see what we've accomplished. If it carries on into, later after my presidency is over, great. But this is kind of how I've been coordinating the very chaotic work from home life and other projects. And it seems to be going pretty smoothly for me. So I appreciate you all that have hopped on here and taken a look at it. And I'm also really willing to listen to feedback. I am a big fan of constructive criticism. If I don't know that there's something wrong, I just don't know. So sometimes, working from home, you can get blinders on. So if this isn't working for you, if there's another way to work, that's great. But just give me the feedback, because again, if everything's solid, I feel like everything's going smoothly. No news is good news. So I'm going to be reviewing this pretty heavily this week, and we'll be talking a bit more about this during the Leadership Summit as well. So if you don't have access to it, let me know. I'll send the invite out again. Again, I think this is just a great way for us to start knocking out some of these items that we've been talking about for some time. So any questions on that? Hearing none, we will go on to the next part of our meeting, which surprisingly, I'm pretty close to being on time. That is the adjournment. I assume that we'll have to make a motion to adjourn. So no need to obtain a motion to adjourn the meeting. The chair can just announce the following. Oh, sweet. It's up to me now. All right. So is there anything else that anybody wants to chat about? If not, I'm going to move on.
I just going to give a little heads up. I'm going to be talking with Scott about some basic conference details on Thursday afternoon. If anybody else wants to be on the very front end of this before we get to the Leadership Summit, let me know. Just drop me an email. But Scott and I will have just some general information available once we get to the Leadership Summit.
Great. Drew, feel free to include me in anything and everything conference-wise. I want to be there for you. So.
Okay. Then I'll copy you on the invitation for Thursday afternoon, and if you're able to make it, fantastic.
Great.
This is Ray, if you want to include me as well.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, this meeting stands adjourned. It's 1:47, 1:19. Look forward to the next meeting. I will be scheduling all of them once I get some feedback from the rest of the board. Thank you all. We do have our quarterly in this same room at 2 o'clock. I have to bounce out for another meeting, but I will be back as soon as that is over. Again, thank you all. I'm super excited about this year. I'm really glad to put last year behind us. This year's already started off a little crazy, but that's okay. We'll work through it, and I really hope to see you all in person at some point this year. That would be wonderful.
Yay.
So with that, yay! With that, the board meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all for the good work.
Go team.
Go
Good
team.
stuff, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you.